let's talk about expressing our dogs. I see in a lot of posts and a lot of groups that I'm in that frustration and heartache comes when the dogs become incontinent. And a lot of dogs get put down at this stage of DM as soon as they start having the accidents in the house. And it breaks my heart thinking about that might be the only reason why these owners are making that decision. And it is totally fixable. We can absolutely remedy this, and they can live a quality of life maybe for an entire year. Now, I always want to preface by saying there is no judgment, and I know that everyone makes a decision with the best information that they have at the time and what feels like the right choice. But I just wanted to put this video together for you to educate how to express our dogs. I'm able to empty the bladder completely, so that way my dogs are good when I leave the house, and then when I arrive home, I'll take them outside and express their bladders again. In between times, I put a diaper on them just in case they have an accident. I don't have anything to clean up. I also like when my dogs are lounging, when I'm gone, I usually use a puppy whelping blanket to put underneath them. I also might use some waterproof bed covers, and then I'll put the puppy whelping blanket on, and then they can lay on top of that. This way, if they do happen to have an accident, I'm able to wash the blanket and I can reuse it over and over and over again if needed. But I rarely have to do that. I'm usually just washing their bedding because it's just time for a wash, not because that they have soiled it, but just because it gets dirty over time and we just need to freshen it up. So that is the power of expressing our dog's bladder and making sure that it is totally empty and there are no accidents. And this also helps with the quality of life of your dog because they're so used to going potty outside for their lifetime that all of a sudden they're having accidents in the house and they know that this displeases you. So this way we can keep their integrity intact. They're not in trouble. They're not going to feel bad. They're not going to be appeasing us knowing that they had an accident. We can avoid all of the issues around all the problems that come with the dogs having accidents in their home as they're progressing through DM. So in this video, what we're going to be tackling is expressing a male dog, expressing the bladder of a male dog. Now, one of the things that I want to really drive home is that it is incredible the amount of urine that they can have in their bladder. So when I express Lucky Boy, I just wait a minute or a few seconds and I just kind of give him a little bit of time and I'm able to do it again and get more urine out. The expression doesn't happen in one motion. I do it once, I give him a minute, I do it again. If I've done it when I take him out in his wheelchair, so we come right out of the house, we're in our wheelchair and I express him and then he motors around the yard a little bit. Before I bring him inside, I'm going to express him again. It is just unbelievable the amount of urine that can be held in a dog. So you would be surprised. Also, one thing to consider that I've noticed in all the male dogs that I've had that have been in wheelchairs, that as far as urinating is concerned, sometimes when they cannot push themselves up with their back end anymore, we're at the stage that they are really weak in the hind end. Maybe the hind end, the legs are not moving at all. That the force of where they're sitting with their hips down into the sling of the wheelchair, that will cut off the flow of their urine. So just by putting them in the wheelchair doesn't mean that they're going potty fully. They might be able to leak or get a little bit out, but I always make sure that I express them so they can totally empty out their bladder. This will also ward off any UTIs. The more that we can just keep their system hydrated and keep everything flowing, you will not have the UTI issues that are common with DM dogs. So there are so many positive attributes to be learning how to express your dog. I also want you to give yourself a little bit of grace because this is a skill that takes a second to learn. You'll find the just right spot. It'll take a few times to get the hang of it, and that is totally normal. When I was learning, it was exactly the same thing. I didn't know this about the very first dog. Her name was Charlie, and Charlie had a lot of accidents in the house. And I had no idea that you could even express a dog. So it's only been after DM dog after DM dog after DM dog that I've had that I have learned how to do this. And now when I had Bam, who I'm wearing now, when I had Bam, we were able to keep accidents to a very, very minimum. I mean, I can't even remember the last time he had an accident in the house. I was able to keep his quality of life intact till the very end. And it felt amazing as a mom to do that. So he was clean. He didn't have the urine burns. We were not battling UTIs like many people do. And he did not feel bad at all for having the accident in the house. So one of the things that you're going to do is make sure that your back is okay because you're going to be leaning over a bit. You're leaning over expressing them. And I do like to express my dogs in the wheelchair. They're able to stand up. If they have use of their front legs, they're able to stand up. And then it's so much easier for me to be able to do it from the standing position. I can show you how to do it when they're laying down. This video is going to show you when they're in their wheelchair. They do have the ability to stand up on their front legs, and I can express from there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be pushing back, pushing up and back, getting to the exit. We're just going to push that urine to the exit, and then they release it themselves. You're going to use medium pressure. It's probably going to be more than what you would expect, and you're not going to hurt your dog. Now, if your dog is able to stand up in the wheelchair slightly, they do have some of that mobility left. They will have complete control of their bladders, and they will not usually enjoy you emptying their bladder because they're able to do it themselves. They still have the ability to control it. This would be for dogs who are now starting to be really weak, and then that bladder issue is starting to come into play. Also, the more you do it, the more that they know that you're just helping them. You're not trying to hurt them. So read your dog, but also just know that it's going to take a little bit of time to learn this, but I would try it over and over. And anytime you take them out to go potty, I would absolutely give it a shot. When I've taught people how to do this, it's amazing when all of a sudden they find the just right spot to push and they get it and it feels amazing. They can't believe it, but it does take a little minute to learn. I also, with the bladder, over time, what you'll feel is it feels like a water balloon, if you will, inside. We're impressing with my right hand. I do use my left hand to come up underneath, but I'm pressing with my right hand. And I am just squeezing. It's just a firm pressure, a consistent firm pressure. It's not like you're milking a cow that it's over and over and over again. It's just this firm pressure up underneath. And their bladder is going to be sitting right in front of their penis. So you're going to want to squeeze and push back, squeeze and push back. I'm going to be showing me doing this to Lucky Boy so you can see it in action. As always, I am always available for questions if you have them. I will always help you if you need it. You just need to reach out. You can always message in the comments below, or you can always DM me and we can have a private conversation about this. But this can keep everything clean. It can keep both you and your dog healthy. So sit back. I'll show you how I express Lucky Boy. This is for males who are able to stand in a wheelchair. While I go and get Lucky Boy a diaper, I just want to give you a friendly reminder to press the bladder more than once. There's so much urine in that bladder, so you're going to press and express some urine, and then you're going to give it just a couple seconds, and then you're going to go back and press again. In this instance, I did it about 4 times until I knew that we pretty much had as much as we could get out of it, and then it's time for his diaper. So don't do it just once. There's lots of urine in that bladder. So press and then press again. Okay, so I don't have any copyright issues or stealing other people's work. This is my best attempt at drawing a dog. I should stick to my day job. But as you can see here is where the penis is and the urethra. And the bladder just sits right above. So I want to make a bit of a correction, as I said in the video in the beginning, that the bladder is ahead of the penis. What I was meaning is that that's where I set my hand. So I set my hand here and then I push up here, which then drives the urine through the urethra and then out the penis. So my hand just presses here. And I was saying it's like a water balloon because it is like this little balloon here, this bladder, but it's sitting nearly directly above the penis, and then my hand is placed right in front and I just slide it up like right here and I just keep pressing. So from here to here is where I press, and it'll go out the urethra and then out the penis there. So hopefully that gives you just a little indication about where the bladder is right there and where to put your hand placement.